So basically, if you love someone, they could get away with whatever. So you basically telling me that because you love me, you'll trust me, I'll get the sex, and I'll get the time because you love me. Okay.
No.
No? That's what you just said.
No, you ask which one is most important.
So most important is love. So you have to be in love with the person. Okay.
It's easier to tolerate certain things, certain lack in a relationship when you love somebody.
What do you mean by lack?
Lack? Well, if the relationship is lacking sex and I don't love the person, then it's so easy for me to just get up and leave. It doesn't take much. If I don't love you, I'm not willing to sacrifice. If I don't love you, I'm not willing to deal with your faults.
What if you love the sex, but you necessarily don't love the person?
There you go. Well, if the sex is good and you don't love the person, then you can... I think it's also individual. It's an individual thing when it gets to that point. Because with me, I'm married. I've been married for a long time. But back in, the single days, where you could just get up and choose and pick, choose and refuse. Right now we're Christians, and so we have to abide by the word of God and, endure affliction, even in your marriage sometimes, and that kind of stuff. But in your single life, you can just, I don't know if I should use the single life because you're talking about sex. So if I don't love first of all, I don't even know why I'd be married if I don't love my husband. And that's one of the main things. That's why love is so important, because it's going to draw me to him to decide to marry in the first place. If I happen to marry him and find out that the sex is bad, then we can probably work. We will have to work around that. We have to figure out some ways. If the sex is good, and let's say I've fallen out of love, it's such a difficult topic. So the sex is good,
but you fall out of love.
It's possible.
It's possible?
I guess it's possible. I don't know.
It's way easier to work with the love than...
It's easier, yeah. It's easier to work with someone when you love them. But if there's no love, Minister D...
Well, I was saying because a lot of people love different things. Like, one of the scriptures say, for the love of money.
Is the root
of all
evil.
It didn't say love, but it said for the love of money. So we have different love for things sometimes. So that's why I mentioned, what if we love the sex, but we really necessarily don't love the person? Like, even back in the days, when we were young and single, like you said, we'll be like, I love this person.
Hey, you looking at me?
No, I'm just saying. if you feel the rock.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, sometimes we'll say, this person here, I was with that person, but man, I can't stand that person.
You're right.
And sometimes it's just that person calls the phone and you be like, hey, I'm gonna see y'all later. I'm about to go.
See you at midnight.
You just said you can't stand that person. But because that lust and that desire is there, it calls you sometimes, and sometimes you have to just scratch that itch. So it could be money. I'm sure that people marry for other reasons than love.
That's true.
Of course.
I believe that.
Of course. Especially in the church. A lot of people are quick to marry because of sex. And I believe that, my personal belief is that marriage was made for sex. I believe that because I have to speak in the Christian line.
Not necessarily.
If you're a Christian, we're Christians, and if you want to have sex, you're not allowed to just go out there and have sex with whoever you feel like, because you have an itch to scratch. You are supposed to be married according to the word of God. And so a lot of people start feeling heated in the church and start to lust, and it's better to marry than to burn. And so they go ahead and get married. And marriage really was made so you can freely have sex with that person.
I thought marriage was made for companionship.
I think that comes along with it. It comes along with it because I can find companionship in anyone.
That's not true.
Oh, yes.
I don't think I ever found companion. I think I just tolerated a person.
It depends on
At
what you
that moment.
consider companionship, though.
Because to me, I think, like, me speaking, sex is more enjoyable when there's feeling involved. And to me, if there's no feelings there, I'm just tolerating you. You understand what I'm saying? So I do have to be in love with you. And then, you know, Apostle used to always say, think about, you know, when you're having sex with someone, it's your spirit and their spirit coming together as one. You know, and when you look at that, like both spirit joining, you know, that's something that's awesome. So you have to have feelings involved. It's not just like you're just looking for like, and women do it too. Some women just want to release and they do whatever they got to do, just like men. To me, there's no differentiate. We're all the same. We all think the same. And women do the same thing just like men do. But I think it was more enjoyable for me when I had feelings involved. So I do believe like love is like the most important thing in a relationship. Because if I don't love you, I'm just tolerating you. You know, the Bible said, for Christ so loved the world that he gave his the only son he had, only begotten son. So whoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. If I love you, our love never perish. And we grow together as one. And that's the bond. And then once you put that bond together and you have, that's when your spirit collide with one another and it join each other. You know, it's like it welcomes it. And it's much better. To me, the feeling is much better.
Yeah,
That's just me.
Well, the thing is, I hear what all y'all saying.
Oh, here we
Guess
go.
what? I always say this every time. I still don't fully agree.
No.
Reason,
What's your take?
because if I can't trust you, forget love, forget sex, forget time, because it means nothing. 'Cause, I've seen situations where this is not personal for all those who think this is personal. It's not personal. All right? Dwayne, my apologies. Minister Dwayne Hayden. All right?
I don't take it personal.
No. You always tend to say it like every week. It sounds kind of personal. No.
Why you say that?
But again, this is not from a
Because he
personal
always
place.
has that hypothetical situation or friend.
It's
I told him, don't say the
based
devil's
off-
advocate no more. Just say you disagree.
Just
Agree, because
All right, go ahead.
I've seen situations where, and I asked friends who cheated multiple times, why is it that they cheat? And they're like, oh, well, the thing is, when I was younger, women in my life always slept around on on whomever, so it's like I'm gonna beat her at the punch. I'm like, what kind of stupid? A lot of, and I realized it, and it's not just the one person I asked about that. I asked multiple guys who have a tendency of cheating on their significant other. Why? Another friend said because I was bored. They weren't exciting me. But I'm like, and it's like at the root of
But you don't
everything,
think
they
people can
couldn't,
cheat and still be in love?
I didn't say that.
But I'm
I
just
said,
saying that
I'm
because
talking
somebody's
about trust.
bored, that don't mean they don't love the person.
But here's the thing:
And people cheat
how much
for a
trust do you have in a
multitude of
person to
reasons.
say like, "Yo, I know I could let this person do whatever, and not have to check over their phone. I don't have to have a password set up because I know that that person at the end of the day is not going to cheat on me." Do you have that confidence?
You don't know that.
Again, that's where that trust.
How old are you, Matthew?
I'm 26.
You're 26 years old. And in your 26 years of life, your father has lived with you for 26-year-old. And your father still don't know you. So you think when you meet somebody out there and you're with them for 5, 10 years, you still don't know them. You don't know the capability of that person. None of us do.
I'm not doubting the capability of a person. I'm not underestimating it. But as long as I have trust in you, regardless of what capabilities you do have, I know at the end of the day you're not gonna mess around.
So what
with
about
me.
when they break the trust?
Now when they break that trust, we'll deal with it then.
Oh.
Because I'm a person.
Oh.
I'm not that person.